Okay, so first thing on the weekly worksheet from last week. On the scratch work, remember on this extended response problem, did I grade it for correctness? No, you should have it correct where?
In the explanation.
On loose leaf, because we did it together. Okay, remember this is the problem we worked out together, so everybody should have it correct somewhere. Some things I took off on part A. If you did not have a label in the scratch work part or in your explanation, I took off 1/4 point. If you had it in at least one of them, I counted it. Which one is the most important to have it in? Ellie? The explanation, because remember, when you are doing these for real, they don't see your scratch work. It's an important piece of the problem. That's why I make you show it to me. But it's not graded. No one sees it but me. So anything you do in your scratch work, you need to talk about it in the explanation. Okay? So here are some things you lost points for. If you see a question mark, that means you left off some whats, or at least one what. If you have an exclamation point, that means you left off a y or some y's. If you didn't have your answer, I had a few people in their explanation, they didn't, well, this one right here in front of me. I have answer, question mark, meaning it's there at the top in the scratch work, but it needs to be in the explanation. Okay, because why does it need to be in the explanation? Ellie?
Because they won't see yours.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's being graded. I don't remember the points because I don't have my key right here in front of me. I know the second part B, the explanation was worth 4 points because there were lots of whats and lots of whys. So if you go ahead and again, on part B, the scratch work, if you had work down there for at least 3 problems, I gave it to you, okay? On the explanation part, I was looking for several whats and whys. Each one that you're missing, I took off like 1/2 point. Okay, so if you see what -1, that means you were missing like 2 whats. And I tried to put, like some of you said nothing about adding at the end. That was an important what in that problem. Does that make sense kind of where you lost points on the, okay. Down at the bottom, let's go ahead and, the volume of that bottom problem. How do we find volume of a rectangular prism, Dawson? Yep, we're on this problem down at the bottom of our weekly worksheet from last week. How do we find volume?
Area of the base shape times height.
Okay, V equals area of the base shape times height. And in a rectangular prism, how do we find the area of the base shape, Ellie? Length times width. Okay, now, side note, just because I just thought of it, something I wanted to go over and I just haven't. On that lovely Khan Academy from Friday, they gave us some things that looked like this. Let me get it up here real quick. And it asked for the volume. Can anybody recall those problems? You can picture them. What did it ask on those problems? For the volume. And if you ask, I said, look at the labels, okay? Some of you that helped, some of it did not. That one is square feet. What does that mean if the label is square feet? Leo? It's not the base, it is the area of the base shape. So they have already multiplied 2 numbers together for you. They're actually giving you capital B. Instead of having to take length times width, they've already done that math for you. What is feet squared times feet? Feet cubed. So if you take 10 times 4, that would have been the volume on those problems. So sometimes they do one of the math steps for us. So those are supposed to be easier problems, but why are they confusing? Because they only give us 2 numbers, okay? So always if they give you 2 numbers, look at your labels. If one of them's already squared, that means they've already done one of the multiplication problems for you. And you just have to multiply the 2 that are given. Okay, but the one on our weekly worksheet, yes?
Added 0.5. Why did you add 0.5?
I added half of a point to everybody's because there's a reason. Let me think of it. What was my reason? I think it was because it came out to 20.25, or no, 20.50 is the total number of points. So I went ahead and graded it as normal, but if you missed one, I gave everybody a half a point back. Does that make sense? Then you got 20.5. Yeah, you got extra credit. Yes, it had something to do with the points when I added them up. It was like 20.5 possible points, and that's a hard one to put in the computer.
So you just instantly gave us.
Yeah, so everybody got like half a point extra credit. It wasn't extra credit, it was just there was an extra problem, so I added that back. Okay, so this one at the bottom, what is my length, my width, and my height, Owen?
4.5, that's your height.
Okay.
2 1/4, that's your width, and 3 meters your length.
Okay. Can I multiply mixed numbers? No, Leo, what do I have to do to all of those? Change them to improper fractions. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. I suggest working down. Several people messed up here because that one and this one are very comparable, but they are not the same. This one is 2 times 4 plus 1, which is 9/4. I had several people give me 9/2 times 9/2 or 9/4 times 9/4, okay, because they were kind of working all over the place. Now, I also had some people try and multiply 2 and then the third one. That works. I suggest just go all the way across. So what's 9 times 9?
81.
And then we have to take 81 times 3 out to the side. 243. And then 2 times 4 times 1. Is that a good final answer?
No.
Nope. If you divide that out, you would get 30 3/8 cubic meters. I did take off if you didn't have a label. Or what's 3/8 as a decimal? 375. Yep, 0.375. It's easier to give it as a fraction. I did have lots of people give it as decimals, and it's because they converted this to 4.5 and that to 2.25. Does that work? Yeah, it really just depends. Are you more comfortable with fractions or are you more comfortable with decimals? They essentially give us the same answer. The only thing you'll have to be careful on is if it says give your answer as a fraction or give your answer as a decimal, but it usually doesn't.
Yeah, if it doesn't say and you say it's 30.5 and it says you're wrong, 30 and
They won't. If it doesn't say, it'll take it anyway. Okay, flip your weekly worksheet to the back where there were more just regular old problems. Few I want to touch on. Top 3 overall were really good. Let's go to on Tuesday. The bottom row, Miss, however you say her name, Epke.
Wednesday?
Ekpe.
Tuesday.
Sorry, it is Wednesday. Okay, Mrs. E's class has 32 students, 20 of which are girls. Write the ratio of girls to boys. So I am wanting girls to boys. If I look back in the problem, how many girls are in the class? 20. How many boys does it tell me there are? Does it tell me that? No, it tells me that there are 32 students and 20 of them are girls. So you had to do a little bit of inferring little inference problem here, that there are 12. Is that a good final answer? No. We can reduce that down, reduce them both by 4. Now, is that okay?
No.
Why on this one? Because that is the simplified. This is the simplified version if my answer was 5/3. But is my answer 5/3? Brendan?
No, it's 5 girls and 3 boys.
Yeah, my answer is there are 5 girls for every 3 boys, or 5, 2, 3. Okay, so if we're doing adding fractions and my answer is 5/3, should I leave it as 5/3? No, but in ratios you need something to something. So this one is out. Best answer was 5/3. I did take off if you didn't reduce. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
What are all the ways that you can make it like the 2?
5:3, 5, 2, 3, or you could say like for every 5 girls there are 3 boys. Fraction, colon, word TO are the 3 ways we've talked about a lot. The next thing, the recipe one, most people got the correct answer, but I want to make sure you know the answer is not 6 to 9. Why is the answer not 6 to 9? Ellie?
Because it's only asking for the cups of sugar.
Yeah, on IAR, if it says enter your answer and you enter 6:9, it's wrong. Even though you have all of the right stuff, you just didn't answer the question that it asked. So just be careful, because on this one and the next one, I had lots of people that had it right there, and I was nice and gave it to you. I just labeled the answer. On IAR, you would get that marked wrong. Okay, so this one was 9 cups of sugar was the final answer. And it's because the ratio was 2 to 3 for butter and sugar. And it said if you're using 6 cups of butter, how much sugar? So it's times 3 times 3. Brendan?
I have a question on this one.
On the next one?
No, like how I let this go.
Which one? The bottom? We'll get there. We're not there yet. I'm going to talk about that one. Okay, the next one, talking about ducks and swans. Clear this. It says the ratio of ducks to swans is 4 to 5. If there are a total of 18 of these birds, how many are ducks? What does 18 tell me, Dawson? The total. So I have to get, this is where we have to add a total. I have to get my total to 18, and I need to know my ducks. In my original ratio, Afton, how many total birds am I referring to?
I got 4 to 5.
Okay, but what's my total? If my ratio is 4 to 5, how many total birds are in that ratio?
8 to 10.
Brendan?
18.
No. What's 4 plus 5?
9.
9. There's different ways to get there, but then I can see to get from 9 to 18, I do times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. And again, the answer was 8 ducks. It wasn't 8 to 10 or 8 ducks to 10 swans. It's just 8 ducks. Afton.
Each of them separately times 2 to get to.
Yeah, and you could kind of guess and check, multiply them, add them to see if you get to the total you're looking for. This one would have been easier to do that if your total was like 180. Would you want to keep building it up till you got there? No. Okay, so this way always works in one step. That way works. It's just kind of a guess and check method. What?
4 to 5 get to 180.
Because it gets to 18. Multiply that by 10, so it would be 80. 80 ducks. Okay, on Thursday, top row we did pretty good. Bottom row, we just got to read carefully. A pattern has 5 blue triangles to every 80 yellow. So 5 to 80 is blue to yellow. What is the ratio of blue to all? There are 5 blue. How many are there in all, Jake? 85. If you gave me that, I put minus 1/4. Why, Leah? Because it can't be reduced if they both end in a 5. What can they be reduced by? 5. So that actually reduces to 1 to 17. Was the best final answer. I gave you percent problems this week on IXL, mostly because of this next problem. This, in my opinion, is one of the easier percent problems, and a lot of us forgot how to do it. What does of mean? Multiply. And you cannot just take 26 times 80. You have to change the percent to a what or a what? Decimal or a fraction. So you could have taken 0.26 times 80 or 26 hundredths times 80. No matter which way you solved it, you would have gotten 20.8 or 20 4/5 in fraction form.
Our IXL page, do we have to show work to what percent is 84 to 100? Or like what percent is 8 to 10?
No. I mean, you should be able to show work fairly simply.
Yes, but it's pretty easy.
Okay, and the last one was 85%. This one gave us the fraction 34 out of 40. How do we find percent? Percent is always out of what? 100. When I worked this one, I left a spot in the middle, took it down to 20. Why would I take it down to 20?
So we get to
Yeah, so I can divide by 2
17.
times 5. So divide by 2 is 17 times 5 is 85%. Okay, any other questions on that? Overall, I felt like it was pretty good. There were just some, most of them were reduce, 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 reduce. Raise your hand if I wrote reduce on your paper somewhere. So I think it was on every single paper at some point. Not on every single problem that needed reduce, but again, I told you that last year. I'm going to write that word a lot, minus 1/4 reduce. Brendan? Okay, so the problem you're going to be working on your loose leaf, at the top, I want you to write scratch work. Okay, we are going to do some of the scratch work together. I don't know if we will get through it, but we are going to do some of the scratch work together.
Can problems have more than one written response on a problem?
They could. They could have like a part A and a part B.
Like how we have on our homework?
Yes. Yep, they could have a part A and a part B. But if you look at this one, there is a part A, a part B, and a part C, but only one of them is like a written response part. Like part A is just wanting an answer. Part B is a written response part. Okay, so part A says, what is the volume in cubic inches of each cube? And it says Haley has some cubes. Each cube has a side length of 4 inches. I'm going to let you do that part by yourself, okay? Because it doesn't really build on part B. But part A says, what is the volume in cubic inches of each cube? And it is referring to this, that's not a, it's referring to that cube right there. Okay, here's the part that we're going to work on together. Part B says, Haley is shipping these cubes, so these 4-inch cubes, in a wooden box. The inside measurement of the box is shown below. I forgot how to get rid of that. It's shown below. You guys have it in front of you. Haley will put as many cubes in the box as possible. She wants to be able to close the box using a lid. Okay, then it shows the box. What is the greatest number of cubes that Haley can fit in the box and still be able to close the lid? Show or explain how you got your answer, okay? So what is this kind of like that we've already seen? What is this like, the problems that we've already seen? We've never seen anything like this, packing cubes inside of a cube or inside of a rectangular prism. Am I putting cubes inside of a box? Yes, have we done that? Yeah, but usually our cubes are fractional cubes, which means they're less than 1. What am I trying to figure out? What question is it asking me to answer? Owen?
How many cubes she can fit in the box?
Yeah, it's asking me how many of those cubes can she fit in the box? Who has an idea of what I need to do to get started? Leo?
You have to find the volume of the box.
No, we do not find the volume of the box first. Owen?
Find the volume of those cubes first.
Nope, you don't even have to do that first. Ellie?
You would take 36, 24, and 19 and multiply them all by, divide them all by 4.
Okay, what are we doing there? I don't want the math. I want to know, like, logically, what are we doing?
We're seeing how many cubes can go into.
Yeah, I have to see how many of those 4-inch cubes can fit into the length, the width, the height. So I'm going to pull up my whiteboard. This is your scratch work. Okay, go ahead and label it Part B, because this is your scratch work for Part B. I'm going to just draw it very generically here. This may not look anything like the box in front of you. It doesn't, does it? Nope, not even close. Okay, we'll do it a different way. We'll do it without pictures because obviously I can't draw. So the length, the width, and the height of the box. What are the length, the width, and the height of the box given? Emmy? 36, did you say 24, and 19? Okay? And I have to figure out how many of those 4-inch cubes can fit in the length, the width, and the height. Jake, how can I figure out how many 4-inch cubes can fit across the length if I know it's 36 inches?
You have to see how much times 4 goes in 36.
Okay, so 36 divided by 4. So let's write that. 36 divided by 4 is what, Jake? 4 times what equals 36? 9. Okay. What does that 9 tell me? Meyer, what does that 9 tell me? Yeah, if I'm packing this box, okay, and I'm putting them in, I'll put a cube, right next to it I'll put a cube, right next to it I'll put a cube, and how many will fit in there? 9. Okay, then I look at the width. Brendan, what do I have to do with the width?
The width, you're trying to see how many cubes are fit in, so you divide it by 4, which equals 6.
Okay, so 24 divided by 4 equals 6. So that means going back, there will be 6 cubes. And my picture's not to scale. Okay, I'm just trying to give you a visualization, which means the bottom of the box, looking right now, is filled by how many cubes?
54.
9 times 6 is 54. Yes, so the bottom of the box, it takes 54 of these cubes. Is the whole box filled yet?
No.
No, because now I have to see how many high can I go. So what do I have to do next? Ellie?
Divide 19 by 4.
Yep, if I take 19 divided by 4, it's not a whole number.
It's 4.7.
So it's 4 and some leftovers, right?
Yeah.
4 and some space left. But not enough for a 5th box if we want to put the lid on it. Okay. It didn't tell us the box is completely filled up. Usually we completely fill the box. This one, there's some space left. Okay? So now let's look at the question. We know that 9 boxes will fit across the length, 6 across the width, and 4 high, and there will be some space left over. The question says, what is the greatest number of cubes that Haley can fit in the box and still be able to close the lid? Show or explain all your work. How can I figure out how many cubes will fit in that box? Leo? 9 times 6 times 4. So I'm going to write that right here. 9 times 6 times 4. If this is a true IAR test, should you have scratch work out to the side?
Yes.
if it's on the calculator portion?
Yes.
You should have this, but should I see like long multiplication, like algorithm and stuff? Type it in, okay? Show what you're typing in. 9 times 6 times 4 equals 216. Is it 216 cubic inches?
No.
What is my answer? 216 what, Elise? 4-inch cubes. So 216 cubes that are 4 inches. That have a side length of 4 inches. 216 cubes that have a side length of, 4 inches. Now, part C, I'm going to walk you through it, but you're going to do it on your own, okay? Part C says, the remaining space in the box will be filled with packing material. How much packing material will be needed to fill the remaining space? Express your answer in cubic inches. Okay, so let's go back to our box. I'm going to go down. I get to draw a box again. It's so much fun. Oops, I just deleted everything. So we have our 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's all filled in. Is our box full though? No. Okay? Our box had a little bit of space. The red is my box. The black are my cubes. I'm such a good artist. Okay? What is part C asking for? Leo?
It's asking for the remaining space, how much it is.
But in math, what is it asking for? Emmy? So it's asking, I'm going to mix those together, the leftover space remaining inside of the box. So what are we looking for? If I'm looking for space inside a box.
What's left inside? Like,
Yeah, just 4 divided by 19.
space inside the box. Just volume.
I am looking for volume of this empty space. Okay, so volume, and again, my picture is not to scale, so volume of empty space. How do we find volume, Leah? Because is the empty space still a rectangular prism? Yes, so how do I find volume of a rectangular prism? Length times width times height will give you volume, okay? But again, you're just finding the volume of that empty space at the top. So think about, it's really your height that's going to be, think about your height, think about, because remember we had some leftover space. You have to figure out how much space, Leo, I don't want answers, how much space was left over at the top. Okay, so everybody listen. Your homework, and again, when is this going to be due? Tuesday. Will be to complete all of part A, part B, part C. I tried to help you. Actually, all of the work for part B is done. What do you have to do? Explain. No, it's not big enough. Y'all do it all on loose leaf, okay? In your explanation, what are some things I'm looking for? What should I see as the first sentence? The answer in a complete sentence. What else will I be looking for? The what's, plural, and the why's, okay? For part C, it just asks you, ooh, it does say, just show all work. I won't make you explain that one. Show all work, circle your final answer. It cut it off. That one, so this one did have 2 parts where they had to explain, Leo, to answer your question from a minute ago. So due tomorrow, weekly worksheet and your IXL skills O10, L8. You will have some time to work on this extended response tomorrow if you don't have it done.